Hi. So this week's video, wow, the lighting is horrible over here. Let's see if we can get a little better. Not really. So new lights coming soon. I actually have the box of them over there. Did not disclose that earlier in the video, so when I say it's coming or I'm ordering it soon, I actually just got them. So with that said, sorry, I've got something going crazy with the camera. This week we're going to be turning a pen. I think I'm going to start doing a series on this where we go over most of the different series or the types that I do as I make some more inventory. That way we can I can have a video to go back to. That way I can show people, like, if you need to replace an ink, how to, like this one is a fountain pen, so this requires a different setup initially. And I'm also going to be doing it one later today or possibly tomorrow now. It's getting a little late and I'm getting a little tired and I got to work tonight. So with that said, yeah, we'll get into it. I'm going to toss you off to my younger self and y'all can learn how fountain pens get put together and turned and all that, and be on the lookout if you're interested. If it wasn't last week, it'll be next week on the proper way to clean and refill fountain pens. I did do a little bit of it in this one, but I'm going to redo it in that one. That way it's all in one video for how to properly ink a fountain pen initially or right after a cleaning. That way you guys can see the proper care and techniques, or care and procedures for taking care of a fountain pen. They do require a little bit more work than regular pens. However, if you ask me, you will not have a better writing experience than you will without anything other than a fountain pen. And the more I look at this, the more I like it. So assuming this thing holds up pretty well, be on the lookout for these coming soon. I do have a couple others that I'm testing out right now, but again, I don't know how anything's going to hold up, so this is me taking advantage of already having it and wanting to get how to take care of your fountain pens, whether you've bought one from me, whether you're thinking about buying one from me or anyone else. It's the same pretty much across the board. Always check with the manufacturer though to make sure you're doing things appropriately, because I'm not responsible if they say don't do this and I say do it, because I'm only as I know it works for these. So with that, toss you to my younger self and have fun. What is up, YouTube? So today we are going to be working on a fountain pen that I've been trying to track down a decent one for a while, so we're going to be testing this one out. I also have another style that I'm testing, which of course it unscrews itself in your pocket sometimes, but they do look pretty good. I really like the metal work on the cap, but once in a while they get a little over tightened, so you just got to pull the cap out to be able to break it loose. So far they're nice, they're pretty. Not sure how well they're going to hold up. I say that about anything, so check if you're curious about those ones. Check back in about 2 to 3 months and I will might not necessarily do an update on here, but if you see me selling them, they held up for a good long while, and so I do have 2 of them. So I'm going to be testing these out at work and a few other places heavily. But till then, here's the next one I'm going to be trying. Figured I'll do a video on this one since I was going to do it on the last one, but the blanks just did not come out as good looking as I was hoping for. So with that, I decided to not do a video on them for just because I bought these blanks. They were supposed to be, of course they're on the other side. This is one side of it. It's supposed to be should have looked really green, really pretty. But when I was done, they were as yellow as you. I just did not like it. Leaving it out in the sun supposedly helps. So far it has a lot, but it's not where I wanted it. So we're gonna see, but just because I don't like the color doesn't mean it's not something I'm not gonna be willing to carry, because I'm sure somebody out there will. But yeah, so now we're just gonna cut this blank. We're gonna cut the little waste bit off. Alright, so this is the bit that we won't use. Eventually I'm going to take a bunch of those. I might throw them in some stabilizing resin. Think about throwing them all in a bowl and just making a bowl out of those. If we do, that'll be a nice fun video. But in the meantime, I want that at full speed. I do turn that's a little too fast to drill sometimes, so you'll have to forgive the, there we go. I always forget turn it on as low as possible. That's one way to pop it out. Okay, now I just need to cut that off, because this particular one takes two different pen tubes. One for the lid, one for the body. And then we'll drill the rest of it out. There we go. I'm a little gentle with it, because if I'm not, then parts go flying. All right. I was going to use a different blank, but I decided not to, since I don't actually have any more of them. Don't think I can get more. Pretty sure it's been discontinued. So didn't want to tease you guys with something I can't get more of. But yeah, so there's those two. If you're ever doing these for profit, do all your drilling before you switch your lathe over. Don't do it one at a time. It's a whole lot faster if you do it that way. Now, here's our tubes that I used initially to get my lengths. Always make sure you cut them a little bit longer than you need. A lot of manuals will tell you, I think they want like an 1/8 to 1/4 inch longer. I usually do about a 1/16 to an 1/8. And you just take a piece of sandpaper to the tubes and rough it up. That way you can think that shows the difference. because if it's really shiny, adhesives generally don't stick. And because these do require cyanoacrylate glue, you definitely want to give them some tooth, which is what sanding anything shiny down is called. So, I thought I had my glue right there. I'm gonna have to go find that real quick. It was literally behind my thing of drill bits on the table saw. So then for this, you just take a little bit of a bead, throw it on there, find the most open end, because sometimes when you saw it, sometimes the fibers will close up a little bit. Spin it around there because you want that tube as covered as much as possible. And there's that. Of course, I forgot to grab something else. This is it's for a different brand of cyanoacrylate, but that's kicker for super glue. It basically sets whatever it touches off instantly. Oh, here's the other one. And then it's the same for the other. I am curious to know too if you guys are interested in seeing how I do all the different pen types. I can skip some of this stuff on all of them. If you're interested, let me know in the comments. And then we just sprayed that. I'm going to let that sit for about 10-15 minutes real time minimum. So actually what I think I'm going to do is mow before the rain comes. So I'll be back with you guys in about an hour my time, or in a transition your time. See you in a bit. We're back. I'm going to do this one freehand, so hopefully I don't do too bad. I apologize for the lighting, although it looks pretty good on my phone so far. I just finished mowing. Our tubes are dry. Everything's dry. No issues, nothing sticky. So we're gonna sand these square. To do that, simply turn this on. Here's my piece here. Almost there, you can see where that lip is. That's where the tube ends. And I just need to get that exposed. There we go. We do the same for this one. And we're back. So we've got everything squared off. We've got these squared off. This lathe is now set up to do pen turning. All we need is the bushings, which we are going to set this up with. All right. So that's the smaller one. One last blow off to make sure that's good. So smaller to smaller, larger to larger. Alright. And there's that. Fan on. This just helps keep sawdust away from me when I can have the main door open, which right now it's right there behind you guys. So that's all I need. That's why I don't generally wear a respirator in the summer. Which I'm going to turn the other fan on as well. In previous videos I've had them both on and it never bugged anybody. Not as much as like I thought that was a motorcycle, but a car drove going down the road. And yeah, so alright, there we go. And that there's full speed. And yeah, here we go. This thing's dull. Yeah, it's acting like it's dull. 1 second, folks. Let me throw another edge on this real quick. Yeah, as much as I don't want to hard mount that grinder down, it moves too much. I'm gonna have to find my hammer drill later and go get me some Tapcons. I don't like the way this thing's sounding. I think this middle bushing's shot. Yeah, that's exactly what's going on. This is completely the wrong bushing. Here I thought I was just being crazy. Always listen to your gut, folks. I don't know if you can tell, but that thing's got a wobble to it now because it wasn't in there square. I'm just striking out on this one. This insert's leaving a funny line behind, so every so often they do that, and all you got to do is rotate them until there's no more clean, sharp edges. And that's what happens when a glue joint fails. Alright, well, we're going to try to salvage this because I don't have anything else I can, I don't have any more tubes I can replace this with. And hopefully, it'll work. Oh, there's 2 pieces missing. All right. I was afraid that was going to happen. If you're ever going to try to salvage this, make sure, don't do what I do, make sure you've got everything you need to do it before you start re-gluing stuff together. Alright. Well, if you ever see something that looks weird on a pen I've used, because it looks like something just don't quite fit right, a lot of times this is the trick I used because something like this happened. Alright, and I'm gonna hold, it's too much. Well, we're gonna knock this off real quick, and then I'm gonna have to re-drill, re-glue, and square everything up on this again. I'm gonna do that off camera. Alright. Alright, and that's how you clean that stuff off. Alright. So there's all that. We're gonna get this re-glued back on, and then I'll see you back here in a few. And we are done. That's the wrong bushing too. That's why it messed up. I bet. Is this the wrong bushing too? Well, we're gonna put this together backwards, because it doesn't really matter the correct order. It just matters that that's the short and that's the long. And if there's any fitment issues with this one, it's because I had to sand it down a second time and might have taken a little too much off of the tube the second time, trying to get everything to go together right. And where did I put my bag of bushings? Anybody know where I put them? All right. That means those two are bad, which means this is the good full set. Even though it is two different pieces, it is the same type of wood. So again, I'm making it for me because I don't give out test pens, so we'll make it work. I will do another one now to make sure the fitment's good on them, but I'll probably end up selling that one because I don't need to use it to test that. I'll know as soon as I put it together. All right, here we go. Alright. I will turn this down to about 12 to 1300. It's a little slower than that. Here's 1360, close enough. I'm just going to hit this with sandpaper real quick. And it's pretty much just going to be more of this. It looks like my camera battery is about to die. So we'll take this from 120 to 3000. If this cuts out, I'll bring it back up and we're ready to apply finish. If we do any more of these, I'm just going to time lapse these, and I'll be using a different camera for that because this one doesn't have time lapse. But the first one of the series, I want to make sure I try to get. We're back. So like I said, my battery did end up dying. Last thing we do before I add finish, anytime I'm doing wood, I always try to use this particular trick. I don't want any of these hard bits from drilling. So where you need to burnish this wood, where we turn the speed all the way up. And all it is using sawdust from the pen from before. You hold it in there. Any rough spots or any weird patches from the sanding process, it knocks it out and it gives you a nice base. Not sure if it shows up too well on camera. I'll know when I edit this down. But I've already got it's already pre-shined up. So now I need paper towels and pen finish. And by the way, when we're done with this, we will be going through everything for assembly and the proper way to ink up a new fountain pen, which is something I just recently learned after years of using them and never realizing I wasn't doing it wrong. Alright, there's that. I thought my pen finish was right there, but that's not pen finish. I can use it, but it's not the right stuff. Alright. Okay, I don't see it, so... Oh, there it is. It's like I knew I had some somewhere. Okay, so the last battery was dead too, and it didn't give me any heads up before I just looked up and I saw it said battery exhausted, so I'm not sure where this cut off. So we got our finish, we got our rag. We're gonna run this at as slow a speed as I can, which without changing the belt ratio is it's basically 650 RPM. Just take a little bit of finish. I just apply a nice thick even coat. The first couple I apply are going to be a lot thicker. I usually try to get about 4 or 5. This is an alcohol based finish, so it dries very quickly to the touch. Now I'm just making sure we're working it in. Put that coat on. Alright, and there's that. And last coat. I put a little too much on there, but hey, it happens. So we'll just work this in. And that's all coated up. Before I start putting heat into this, always make sure you got your beeswax, or if you're doing a final wax coat on the outside, always make sure that's ready to go. Now we'll turn the speed up with the clean part of the rag. Now this finish is already set, but it's I want this wood nice and hot, so we're just heating it up. That's with friction, and now we're gonna, oh yeah, it's going on nice and thin and light. Now we'll just work this in, and this is what gives me a nice natural shine to the wood. Alright, definitely tell it's two different pieces of wood when it's done, but hey. That's what we were going for, right? It's for me after all. So I'm just gonna pop this last piece of the bushing out, and then we're gonna head over to my workbench to put it together. If you're a turner and you do not own a pair of Whelpers and you make pens, buy a pair of Whelpers. You will thank me every time you have a bushing get stuck or something round. Like there's a bushing on here, which I believe I got this thing loose. I did have it loose, but if it don't want to move, you just turn it on. It is the perfect size to grab those bushings. And even if you only have 4 points of contact, steel on steel, you're not going to hurt the bushing. Just make sure you don't clamp down on your pen. Fun little side note. I'll see you guys at the bench. Okay, folks, so we are back. Looks like my new stuff is out of the frame. So I'm making fire starters out of my sawdust, so I got those up on this table too. But I gotta tighten this up too at some point, which I think that's a Phillips. Yay, it's a Phillips head. Just makes this a little bit easier when they're tight. Alright, that's better. Sorry about that. So, we are ready to go. I put it in my pocket. That's why I can't find it. So, here's our pen kit. I already dropped the 2 pieces in there. I generally do that so I don't lose stuff, because it makes my life a whole lot easier when I'm trying to track stuff down when I'm done. So all kinds of bags everything comes in, so you just kind of gotta get good at getting stuff out of these little dinky bags quick. Alright, so we've got a lower cap, I believe is that. Paperwork that come in these is where I get my directions. So we got a lower cap, one of these guys. The longer of the 2 body pieces, and those 2 should be identical generally. These are things you pick up for when you make too many of this type of deal. Believe that thread's on. Yes, it does. Alright, here's that. They put that in there to protect the nib. Alright, and there's our nib. Sorry, I won't focus. Let's see if, there we go. That looks better. Alright, so it says for step 1, you press a coupler into each end. Make sure your threaded parts are out, because this one will pretty much thread together once everything else is pressed together. You ever hear me talking about pressing pens? This is what I'm talking about. They usually say to do these one at a time. I find it's easier just to do them both in one go. So here's the body. Screw the lower cap in, screw the nib in. So what I'm gonna do is just, it doesn't matter when you do that. So there's that without the nib. I'm not going to put the nib all the way on, but I like this style, because then if you'd rather have it the other way, you can just unscrew them and flip them around. That is one nice thing about this style. And now we need then the cap. Center band with a narrow onto one end. Alright, so that'll go in there. Oops, you go to the right one. Alright, this one I can't do both ends at once because the one I think I can press in too far. So we'll tap that in, and then I want it back out just in case. And this does look like it might actually have a stop. Then we just open that back up. Press that in there, and I apologize for the lighting. I am ordering more shop lights because it is really dark over here. And you just put your pocket clip on there. It's kind of hard to hold everything so you can see it. But then you just thread that down. And there is my cap. Now before you do this, these usually come with an ink converter, which I don't see in this kit. I might have overlooked it, but it's a piece that might be, I might have one in here. No, I don't. This is going to be the subject of the next video, how to clean one that's clogged up to the point where it's unusable. Alright, I don't see a converter out here, so if you do, all you do is you get some of the cleanest water you can. This happens to be reverse osmosis distilled water, which I actually filter myself, but that's not for pens. That's because I have a saltwater aquarium and that's what we use. This is how I cheat, because I can run a lot more water through in one go. And then you just hold it upside down. If it would focus, and then you just run water through it and just let it go out. You want a fair bit to go through. All we're doing is making sure there's no oils or anything from the manufacturing process left. Empty that out. Now I'm just gonna push a little air through. Sorry, I thought I was in frame. This should be pretty much ready to rock and roll. And then when you're done with all that, if you're using an ink converter, you just dip that into the ink and use your converter to move the action to pull it up in. Or this one's going to be, at least for now, cartridge based. Just press your cartridge in. Some people say squeeze the cartridge a little bit. I find you just angle it, nip down for a few minutes. And you can also hold it upside down and shake it a few times. And we're going to see if it's ready to write, because sometimes that's all it takes. There we go. So there we go. That'll need to dry out a little bit, but just based on initial reactions for me, this might actually replace some of the ones that I use for fairly affordable entry-level fountain pens. But again, trying it out, we'll see what comes of it. But with that said, I will say cat in the hat and dappy dat. See y'all later.